The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the polished floor of Dr. Arthur Albright's veterinary clinic. Years of dedication were etched into the lines around his kind eyes, eyes that had seen countless stories of joy and sorrow unfold within these walls. He was a man of quiet competence, his movements precise and gentle, as he finished examining a perfectly healthy, albeit rather spoiled Persian cat named Princess Fluffybutt. Her owner, a woman draped in expensive silks, fretted over a barely perceptible sneeze. "Are you absolutely certain it's not feline pneumonia, Doctor? I read online." Dr. Arthur offered a patient, if slightly weary, smile. "Mrs. Harrington, Princess Fluffybutt is in excellent health. Perhaps a touch too many gourmet treats, but otherwise fine. Just keep an eye on her and call if anything changes." He meticulously updated the digital file, the rhythmic tap of his fingers on the keyboard the only sound for a moment. As Mrs. Harrington gathered her cat, cooing reassurances, Dr. Arthur watched them leave. The clinic, usually a place of bustling life, felt particularly quiet. He ran a hand through his greying hair, a familiar sigh escaping him. Another day, another perfectly healthy pet, with an overly anxious owner. He often wondered if the animals he treated were the only ones truly honest about their feelings. Sometimes, the silence of his own life felt heavier than the busiest of days. He glanced at a framed photo on his desk, a faded image of a younger him with a smiling woman and a scruffy terrier. A pang of old sorrow, a familiar companion. He straightened his white coat, the fabric a shield he'd worn for decades. What unexpected story would walk through his door next? And would it be one that could mend more than just a broken bone or a fleeting illness? Perhaps it's in the quietest moments, when we feel most adrift, that the currents of fate prepare to bring the most meaningful connections our way. Dr. Albright meticulously locked the clinic door, the click of the tumblers echoing in the empty street. His apartment above the clinic was tidy, Spartan even. He prepared a simple supper, the clinking of cutlery the loudest sound. He ate standing by the window, looking out at the city lights that seemed to twinkle for everyone else. Later, he found himself again staring at the photograph on his nightstand. Sarah's smile, Buster's goofy grin. It had been 10 years since the accident, 10 years of this quiet ache. He often thought of animals, how they lived so fully in the present, unburdened by the what-ifs that haunted human hearts. His own heart, he knew, carried the weight of a past he couldn't change and a future he hadn't planned to face alone. The next morning, the clinic bell chimed, a hesitant, soft sound, unlike the usual confident jingle. Dr. Arthur looked up from his notes. Standing in the doorway was a small girl, no older than 7, with wide, worried blue eyes. Her clothes were clean but patched, and she clutched a ginger tabby cat tightly to her chest. The cat, unlike Princess Fluffybutt, was not protesting its confinement. It lay limply in her arms, its head lolling slightly, its fur dull. "Hello," Dr. Arthur said, his voice softer than usual. "What can I do for you?" The little girl, Lily, took a tentative step inside. "It's Mittens," she whispered, her voice barely audible. He's not himself. He won't eat, and he doesn't want to play. He just sleeps. All the time." Her lower lip trembled. "I think he's very sick, sir." "Doctor." Arthur gestured towards the examination room. "Let's take a look at him, shall we? What's your name, little one?" "Lily," she said, following him. "And this is Mittens. He's my best friend." She placed the cat gently on the stainless steel table. Mittens didn't react, his amber eyes half closed and clouded with an unmistakable lethargy. Dr. Arthur began his examination, his experienced hands moving with practiced care, checking for fever, listening to the cat's heart and lungs. There were no obvious signs of injury, no fever, no respiratory distress. Yet the cat was profoundly listless, a furry little shadow of a creature. Lily watched, her small hands clasped together, her gaze fixed on her beloved pet. The weight of her worry filled the small room, a palpable thing. Dr. Arthur ran a few basic tests, his brow furrowed in concentration. Blood work came back normal. X-rays showed nothing amiss. Physically, Mittens appeared to be a healthy, if underweight, young cat. Yet the profound lack of spirit was undeniable. He gently stroked Mittens' dull fur, the cat offering no purr, no nuzzle, just a sigh that seemed too heavy for such a small creature. "Lily," Dr. Arthur began, turning to the anxious child, "tell me about Mittens. When did he start acting this way? Has anything changed at home recently, anything at all?" Lily bit her lip, thinking hard. "Well," she started slowly. Granny Rose, she moved to a special home a few weeks ago. She couldn't look after herself anymore. Mittens loved Granny Rose. She always had a lap for him, and she'd sneak him little bits of her toast. Lily's voice grew smaller. And my big brother, Tom, he got a job in another city. He left last week. Mittens used to sleep on his bed every night. Tom always played chase the string with him. Tears welled in Lily's eyes. It's just me and Mum now. And Mum works a lot. Doctor. Arthur listened intently, a different kind of understanding dawning in his eyes, one that no medical instrument could provide. He had seen grief in animals before, the way a dog would pine for a lost companion, or a cat would stop eating after a beloved owner passed. But this level of profound lethargy in Mittens, coupled with Lily's own quiet sorrow, painted a clear picture. Mittens wasn't physically ill. He was heartbroken. He was grieving the loss of his familiar comforts, his playmates, the very fabric of his small, happy world. It was a sadness so deep it manifested as a physical ailment. Lily, Dr. Arthur said gently, I don't think Mittens has a sickness that medicine can fix in the usual way. He saw the flicker of fear in her eyes and quickly added, but that doesn't mean we can't help him. Sometimes animals, much like people, can get very, very sad. Their hearts can hurt, just like ours do. It sounds like Mittens is missing Granny Rose and Tom very much, doesn't it? Lily nodded, a tear escaping and tracing a path down her cheek. He just lies there, she whispered, like he's forgotten how to be happy. Dr. Arthur looked at the listless cat, then at the desolate child. The connection between them was palpable, a shared thread of loneliness. He thought of his own quiet apartment, the echoes of laughter long gone. Animals, he knew, were incredibly attuned to the emotions of their humans. Was Mittens also reflecting Lily's own unexpressed grief? It was a powerful reminder that the well-being of a pet is often deeply intertwined with the emotional landscape of its home. Has an animal ever helped you through a tough time, or have you ever seen your pet mirror your own feelings? Share your experiences in the comments below. It's amazing how much we can learn from them. Doctor, Arthur decided to keep Mittens for observation, but his focus was as much on Lily as it was on the cat. He saw the way she hovered, her small face etched with worry that went beyond a pet's illness. Lily, he asked kindly, how have you been feeling since Granny Rose and Tom left? The question seemed to unlock something in her. Her carefully constructed composure crumbled. It's very quiet, she confessed, her voice thick with unshed tears. Mom tries, but she's so tired when she gets home. Tom used to read me stories, Granny Rose would hum songs. Now it's just quiet. And Mittens was always there. He'd purr when I was sad. Now he won't even look at me. The dam broke, and quiet sobs shook her small frame. Dr. Arthur's heart ached. He recognized the profound emptiness she described, the silence that magnifies loneliness. He saw how Mittens' withdrawal was a devastating blow to Lily, a reflection of her own feelings of abandonment and sorrow. The cat, her constant companion, her furry confidant, was now lost in his own grief, unable to offer the comfort she so desperately needed. It was a vicious cycle of sadness, each mirroring and amplifying the others. He spent some time just talking to Lily, not as a veterinarian to a client, but as one human being to another. He spoke about his own dog, Buster, and how much he missed him. He shared how sometimes when you lose someone you love, whether human or animal, it feels like a piece of you is missing. Lily listened, her sobs slowly subsiding, replaced by a quiet understanding. She wasn't alone in her feelings, and perhaps neither was Mittens. You know, Lily, Dr. Arthur said, an idea forming, sometimes, when we're sad, the best thing we can do is to try and make someone else feel a little bit better. And I think Mittens needs your help just as much as you need his. He explained in simple terms how animals can sense our emotions. If you're feeling sad and withdrawn, Mittens might feel that too, and it might make his own sadness worse. But if he sees you trying to be a little bit brighter, a little bit more playful maybe, just maybe it will help him remember how to be happy too. He watched as Lily looked at Mittens, who was still lying listlessly on a soft blanket in a recovery cage. A flicker of determination sparked in her eyes. It was the resilience of a child, the unwavering love for a pet. It's often said that pets are a reflection of their owners, but perhaps it's more of a two-way street, a shared emotional current. If you believe that a small act of compassion can change the world, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our future stories. We often find that the greatest strength is found in the gentlest of hearts. Dr. Arthur formulated a plan, one that didn't involve medication or complex procedures, but something far more fundamental: connection and shared joy. "Lily," he proposed, "how about this? For the next few days you can come here after school. We'll call it Mittens' Happy Hour. You can bring a book and read to him, just like Tom used to. Or maybe bring that string he likes to chase. We'll make a cozy corner for you both." He gestured to a quiet part of the clinic. The best medicine for a sad heart, whether it has 2 legs or 4, is often a little bit of love and attention. Lily's eyes widened, a fragile hope dawning. "Really? I can do that?" "Absolutely," Dr. Arthur confirmed with a warm smile. "And while you're here, perhaps you could even help me with a few small things. Tidying up, maybe feeding some of the other animals who are here for a visit. It might be good for you to be around other furry friends too." He saw this not just as a way to help Mittens, but to gently coax Lily out of her own shell of sorrow. It was a prescription for joy, for both of them. The next afternoon, Lily arrived, a worn copy of The Velveteen Rabbit clutched in her hand. Dr. Arthur had set up a comfortable cushion and a soft blanket in a quiet corner. Lily sat down, and Mittens, who had barely moved all morning, lifted his head ever so slightly. She began to read, her voice soft and hesitant at first, then gaining confidence. Mittens' ears twitched. He didn't get up, but he watched her. Dr. Arthur observed from a distance, his heart lighter than it had been in days. Over the next few days, Lily became a regular fixture at the clinic. She read to Mittens, dangled a feather wand, a gift from Dr. Arthur, and even coaxed him to eat a few bites of his favorite tuna. Slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, Mittens began to respond. A faint purr rumbled in his chest when Lily stroked him. His eyes, once dull and clouded, started to show a spark of their old curiosity. Lily, too, was transforming. The shadows under her eyes seemed a little lighter, her smile a little quicker. She chatted with Dr. Arthur about her day, helped him prepare food for the other animals, and even giggled when a playful kitten batted at her shoelaces. The clinic, once a place of quiet routine for Dr. Arthur, now echoed with the soft murmur of a child's voice and the occasional tentative meow. He found himself looking forward to their happy hour as much as Lily did. It was like watching a wilted flower slowly unfurl in the warmth of the sun. The simple act of caring, of being present for another, was weaving its magic. What was the greatest lesson your pet ever taught you? Share your wisdom with us in the comments. We love hearing these stories. One afternoon, about a week into their happy hour routine, Dr. Arthur walked into the quiet corner and found Lily giggling. Mittens, no longer listless, was batting playfully at the feather wand, his ginger fur gleaming under the clinic lights. He even let out a small happy chirp. Then he did something he hadn't done in weeks. He rubbed against Lily's legs, purring like a tiny motor. Lily scooped him up, burying her face in his fur, and Mittens nuzzled her back. Dr. Arthur watched, a genuine, unreserved smile spreading across his face. It was a beautiful sight, a testament to the healing power of simple kindness and companionship. But as he turned to leave them to their moment, something caught his eye. Tucked under Mittens' chin, almost hidden by his fur, was a tiny, tarnished silver locket, barely visible until the cat had moved just so. He frowned, a strange sense of déjà vu washing over him. "Lily," he said gently, "where did Mittens get this little locket?" Lily looked up, surprised. "Oh, that! Granny Rose gave it to him. She said it was a lucky charm. She found him as a tiny kitten, all alone near the old willow tree by her cottage. He was wearing it then, but it was on a frayed piece of string. She put it on a new little ribbon for him." Dr. Arthur's heart began to pound. The old willow tree. Sarah had loved that tree. They used to have picnics there. And the locket. He stepped closer, his hand trembling slightly. "May I see it?" Lily carefully unfastened the locket and handed it to him. It was small, heart-shaped, and intricately engraved with a tiny, almost faded initial, S. His breath caught in his throat. It was identical to a locket he had given Sarah years ago, a matching one to a set. Hers had a tiny A for Arthur. He fumbled in his own pocket and pulled out his wallet. Tucked behind a photo of Sarah was his own locket, the one he always carried. He held them side by side. They were a pair. A wave of emotions, so strong it nearly buckled his knees, washed over him. Memories flooded back. Sarah, her laughter bright as sunshine. her love for all creatures, especially the strays she'd often bring home, and Buster, their scruffy terrier, who had been her constant shadow. He remembered a conversation, hazy now with time, about a litter of kittens born near that willow tree, one of which Sarah had been particularly fond of, a little ginger one she'd named Sunny because of his bright fur. She'd even fashioned a tiny collar with her spare locket for him, hoping he'd stay close. But then the accident had happened, and in the chaos and grief, Sunny had been forgotten, presumed lost, like so much else. He looked at Mittens, truly looked at him, and saw not just a ginger tabby but a living link to his past, to Sarah. This cat, found by Granny Rose, cared for by Lily, was the kitten his beloved wife had cherished. It was as if Sarah had sent him a message, a comforting paw reach across the years. The realization was overwhelming, a bittersweet ache that was both painful and profoundly healing. Tears welled in Dr. Arthur's eyes, but these were not tears of sorrow alone. They were tears of recognition, of connection, of a circle unexpectedly, miraculously completed. He looked at Lily, her innocent blue eyes watching him with concern. He looked at Mittens, now purring contentedly in Lily's arms, the little locket glinting. His solitary life, his quiet clinic, suddenly felt less empty. It felt full. If the story of Mittens and his little locket also touched your heart, let us know in the comments below what your pet's most precious possession is. I'd love to read about it. Dr. Arthur gently explained to Lily about Sarah, about Sunny, and about the locket. Lily, wise beyond her years, listened with wide, empathetic eyes. She reached out and placed her small hand on Dr. Arthur's arm. "So, Mittens, he knew your wife?" she asked softly. "In a way, yes," Dr. Arthur said, his voice thick with emotion. "She loved him very much, even as a tiny kitten." He looked at Mittens, now truly sunny in his eyes. The cat blinked slowly, as if in understanding. From that day on, things changed. Dr. Arthur still ran his clinic, but it was no longer a place of quiet solitude. Lily and her mother became frequent visitors, not just for Mittens, but for Dr. Arthur. He helped Lily's mother find better paying work through a connection, easing their financial strain. Lily continued her happy hours, often joined by Dr. Arthur, who found himself sharing stories of Sarah and Buster. The memories now tinged more with warmth than with pain. Mittens, or Sunny, as Dr. Arthur now fondly called him, thrived, a happy, playful cat who divided his affection equally between his two favorite humans. Dr. Arthur Albright, the veterinarian who had mended so many broken bones and cured so many illnesses, found that his own heart, long fractured by grief, was finally beginning to heal. He had opened his door to a child and her sad cat, and in doing so had found an unexpected path to his own redemption, a connection to his past, and a new, brighter future. He learned that true wealth wasn't in the expensive treatments or the wealthy clients, but in the richness of shared moments, in the unwavering love of a child, and in the comforting purr of a cat who had, in his own way, brought them all together. The silence in his apartment above the clinic was no longer heavy. It was filled with the anticipation of Lily's visits, with the soft padding of Sunny's paws, and with the gentle, healing rhythm of mended hearts. Sometimes, the greatest gifts come in the most unexpected packages, often furry and with a tale to tell. How about sharing this video with that friend who also loves animals as much as we do? Let's spread this chain of good, and remind everyone that a little bit of kindness can indeed change a life, or even two.